When you know the value of the problem you solve or the solution and the goal you can help people achieve, it's so much easier to price and monetize your offerings. You are listening to Amplify Your Success Podcast, episode 271. And today I'm in part 2 of my 3-part series, and I'm going to show you how to monetize your unique business superpower. You ready for this? Let's get started. Welcome to the Amplify Your Success Podcast. Get ready to ramp up your revenue, amplify your impact, and make your mark in the world. This is the show for experts, thought leaders, and service professionals who want to shatter their limits and achieve that next level. You're going to find out from other experts and influencers how they made it. Now, let's get amplified. Hey there, inspired entrepreneurs and business leaders. It's your host, Melanie Benson, authority amplifier for brands and business owners. And today I'm in part 2 of my 3-part special series on business superpowers. And today I want to unpack the monetization step of your business superpower. Now, hopefully you listened to part 1. I will link it up in the show notes. It's called Activate Your Dormant Business Superpower. And today we're going to monetize it. So once you know what it is, of course, the obvious question as a business owner is, well, what am I going to do with it? Like, how am I going to translate it to making money? Now, if you already have a business and you are highly successful, there is a strategy in here that is worth considering. This is not just for people who are new, although you can use this if you're newer in business. This is for you if you are ready to really take your game to another level. You want to dominate your niche. You're building an authority brand and you want to stand out, knowing that your market is very crowded and sometimes you may feel like a best kept secret. Maybe you've been struggling to raise your rates. This is for you. Now, this monetization of superpowers is what I consider the foundation that must be in place to fully actualize all of the value from my 7-step plan to get booked on hot stages, get ideal leads flowing to you, and get 5-figure clients. Now, this whole process rests on you knowing what your business superpower is. That's why I'm going through it, because I was getting a lot of questions about, okay, Melanie, well, how do I know what to talk about on stage? How do I know what to offer people? It all ties back to this business superpower. Now, if you don't yet have my 7-step plan, you can do one of 2 things. If you're listening to this on social media, you can go in the comments right now and say, Melanie, I want the plan. And I will direct message you access. If you are already connected to me in some way, just email us or direct message us wherever you are, or you can go to amplifywithmelanie.com and we will hook you up with an invitation to my exclusive Facebook group for experts who want to be a highly paid authority in their field. And I'll give you access to the 7-step plan and show you how to implement it in the Facebook group. If you go to the guides, it's there. All right, so let's get into monetize your superpower. So once you know what your business superpower is, then we have to figure out how to package it, position it, and price it, right? The 3 magical P's. And the key foundation I work with my clients on is, what is a problem you are solving or a goal you are helping people achieve that is valuable, that they are willing to invest money to learn from you and to implement with you. Now, if you're a coach or a consultant, obviously it's more you're guiding them. If you have done for you services, this will look more like how you can help people, how they can work with you to achieve it. So depending on the type of business you are, this is going to look a little different. The whole foundation is around what I call your unique profit amplifier. And that is how I design offerings with my clients. And this is think of this like a Venn diagram. If you're a visual person, you need to know what that unique superpower is, which check, we did that in the last episode. The second thing you need to know is, who are my ideal clients and what is the costly problem they solve? Now, this may be a duh moment. Like, okay, of course, Melanie, I know what they are. And I have worked with so many people who thought they knew who their ideal client really was and what problem you solve for them, but they don't. They don't really know it deeply. So step 2 is, who is your ideal client and what is the costly problem they're struggling with, right? And then 3 is, what is the value of solving the problem? Okay, so this is super important. Or what is the value in achieving the goal, right? So if you're moving towards something, it's the goal. If you're moving away, if you teach people how to move away from something, it's solving a problem. Understanding the value is where this just like activates a very powerful clarity, and it drives your offer. It drives what you can charge, and it drives it maybe even the type of clients that you want to attract. And it lasts, like if we were to kind of wrap a bow around this whole thing, is it really helps you build your authority. So when you own that unique profit amplifier and really make that a cornerstone of your messaging, of your positioning in the market, of your authority brand, all of the pieces, then people start to recognize you are the person that they want to go to. This may seem very simple, but it's worth going through and really working this process so that you don't assume things. So I have a client who I just adore. I love working with this person. And he thought he knew who his ideal client was, and he does. But what he didn't know is the value of solving the problem. And so I took him through my monetization of the Superpower process, and I had him do some research, and we looked for trends on what increase in revenue he was bringing to his clients. And it was almost like his eyes lit up and his perception changed, and he realized he was undercharging because the value of solving the problem was something his clients couldn't do without him. And when he did it with them, he was a very small percentage of the overall revenue gain he brought to them. These are the types of aha moments that drive our positioning, what you're going to call the program, how you're going to deliver the program, right? Like, it has so much in terms of designing your offering, and drives your pricing. Because if you're undercharging, people will be like, okay, this is like too good to be true. Will it really work? They may doubt that it's worth the investment. But when you really price it properly, it's like a no-brainer. People were saying to him, wow, yeah, you know what? This is an easy yes. And I actually had him double his rates. So instead of being under 5K, he was going into 7,500 and 10K. And yeah, it was a little scary at first, but he kept with it, and he kept building the new muscle and building the positioning around his offer, so it was an easy yes. So I call this a unique profit amplifier because if you do this well, there is an outcome that when you take people into your first step, it generates repeat business. Either A, in referrals, or in people continuing to move through your other offers, or continuing to repeatedly enroll with you over and over and over again. Many of my VIP clients and my coaching clients stay with me between 2.5 to 7 years. Why? Because I continue to help them ascend to new levels of success they didn't even know were possible. And as they're growing and evolving, they trust me to help move them through their process. So when you do your unique profit amplifier properly, that's what happens. Now, to really unlock the value of the monetization step here, you really also need to understand who your niche is, and you will benefit having specificity in your offer. Now, I know that might sound crazy, and if you're more of a generalist, that might feel like the worst news possible. what I see in the market right now is specificity sells. And that's been hard for me too. I'll just admit, I can help people with a lot of things. So it's been hard to embrace the specificity at times. But the more specific I am, either with my niche or with my offer or both, the more I can command in my high ticket offers. Like, people are willing to invest more to do the one-on-one work. And the easier my lower price point offerings sell and my online coaching program. So there's a lot of benefit to specificity. And most of it is because people really get, oh, I know to go to Melanie, or I know to go to Jane, or I know to go to Jim for this thing. When we're talking about monetization, there's a couple key things that I think are, or I should say a couple key strategies that I want to unpack here. And these are both things, like if I'm hitting the high notes for here because of the podcast and the timeline here, just know these are things we deep dive into Amplify Your Authority Inner Circle, my online group coaching program. The templates, the systems, the offerings in there, that is a great place to go unpack this stuff. So whether you want to do option 1 or option 2, just know that is a very good place to start to work through both of these monetization strategies. Now, monetization strategy number 1 is to introduce a leveraged offering. Now, I say leverage because there's a lot of ways to take your offering out of the one-to-one trap, because we all know you can only make as much money as you can work, and at a certain point you're going to run out of time and energy. And leveraged offerings could be something like group coaching, could be some kind of a digital training or on-demand training. It can be a workshop that you teach and you charge for. So there's a lot of different ways to do it. I like to customize that to my clients based on where their superpower is and what their market tends to lean into in terms of solutions. The key to a leveraged offering is you want to introduce it when you're maxed out on time, but you have no shortage of people looking for what you do. It's a little tougher to do if you do not have a lot of people looking for you, or your one-on-one services are a higher price point and you know people want to work with you but can't afford to work with you in your one-on-one. So leveraged offerings are really hot. I'm working with a client right now who he's been in a one-to-one model and he is maxed out. He has great client referrals. He has no shortage of business. He's turning people away. So we knew it was time to introduce a more leveraged offering. So we've been building out his group coaching offering. So that is the perfect time to tap into that. Now, the reason why I think this is really good for monetization is if you follow the unique profit amplifier process, a leveraged offering can really, you can scale it. And hopefully you're designing it in a way where you can work with as many people as possible. And that is the way to rapidly increase the revenue without having to keep working in the business and selling your time for money. So leveraged offerings are one of my super favorite strategies. My Amplify Your Authority Inner Circle would be an example of that in my program. I am high touch in that program, but that's where we show people how to implement all of the 7 steps in the roadmap that I teach. Obviously, some people are not going to want to do a leveraged offering, or you may have found that you're kind of looking for what's that next step. And this is going to be exciting for a lot of people. This is the 5-figure deal, a high ticket offer. So it could be 4 figures, 5 figures. Some people do 6 figures. So a high ticket offer, you want to introduce and monetize your superpower when time is a premium for you and the value of the outcome is improved for your potential client because they can work with you in a more one-on-one private fashion or in an accelerated way. So my favorite high ticket offer is a VIP day. Yes, I offer VIP days, but VIP days or VIP packages is when people invest a premium and you're accelerating the process for you. So the client I mentioned earlier, who I helped him double his rates, he's been in a VIP package with me. I have I have several people I'm working with the VIP level right now, but another group is they wanted to start a podcast and they had lots of questions. And so kind of just learning a process wasn't going to be enough for them. So they did a VIP package where I am walking them through all of the components of making sure the podcast they release is aligned with their authority brand and can help them monetize and drive traffic to other offerings. So that would be another example of like you take a process that you may have an on-demand version or a group coaching version, but people, not everybody's a good fit for that. And you have people who are like, well, I don't want to go sit through a group. I'd rather learn it and have you help me implement it. Another version of a high ticket offer that's really sexy is if you do done for you offerings. And done for you is something where you have a team or you are doing like the implementation part for a client. Okay, so that's not for everybody. There's a lot more involved in there, but it can also be a high 5 and 6 figure offer depending on how you package it. So those are some of the ways I like to monetize. And you may have learned this about me by now, but I am a customizer. So I like to look at all of the things out there, really understand what is your superpower and how's that going to translate in your market to your ideal clients. Because remember, not all people consume and implement the same way. So when you really understand your ideal client and we understand what their buying power is, what their needs are, what they're struggling with, how do they best implement, then you will better understand which of the monetization strategies is best for you. Now, I'd love to hear if you have questions that are coming up. Join me in my Amplify Your Authority Facebook group. We always post a theme on Thursdays with the podcast of the week. Love to hear your questions. Love to hear your thoughts. And I'd love to hear, how are you going to monetize your business superpower? Come tell us what's going to work for you. And if you're working my 7-step plan right now, this is a really great one that fits inside the design your offering step of the 7-step plan. Thanks for tuning in today, Amplifier. Be sure to join us right now in the Amplify Your Authority community at authorityamplifiers.com, and I'll share my 7 proven tips to be a highly paid expert that stands out in a crowded market. Plus, we're going to keep this conversation going, and I want to hear from you how you're going to amplify your authority and make a greater impact. Before you go, please take a minute to give our show and our guests some love over on your favorite podcasting platform. Subscribe, rate, and review. Leave your full name, and I'll spotlight you and your authority on social media.